and stuff here. We're gonna get started real soon. Hope everyone's doing well. Hello everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. We are going to be doing some Brawl deck idea testing here today. Now, I know that we normally do the Historic Brawl Tournament on Mondays, but unfortunately it was canceled this week. The host, unfortunately, was not able to be able to host it this time. So, it's they were unfortunately just not able to manage things this week. Hopefully we'll be able to see them have it ready next week with no problems. For the Brawl Tournament, we have ourselves 2 deck ideas that we were going to go ahead and try testing out today in just some random queues. And they're based off of some requests of deck ideas that was posted in our Discord. If you haven't actually had a chance to check out our Discord, you can find a link to it in our About section on our Twitch here. And we'll actually be having some deck lists posted also in the Discord as well of what's here. I'll have a link to a website a little later tonight when we try to post them up for after we maybe do some tweaking on them after we do some tests. Now, for the deck ideas, like I said, we have Niv-Mizzet. Oops, sorry about that. We have Niv-Mizzet as one deck idea, and we have Lozhan, who is a new commander option from the Baldur's Gate set. I figure we'll go ahead and go over Lozhan first, because it is a newer card. And some people don't know about it, just because a lot of people kind of glossed over the set in general. For those who are playing in Arena, this is a card that people probably don't really know too much, because unless you're playing in the Alchemy format, you probably don't really know this card. So, Lozhan Dragon's Legacy, it's kind of expensive for 5 mana, but it is a 4/2 flyer. Whenever you cast an adventure or dragon spell, the Dragon's Legacy will deal damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target that isn't a commander. This means that we can actually do damage just straight to our opponent's face. We can also, answer a lot of potential cards on the board. And just by playing our spells. To take advantage of the Legacy's general passive, we have ourselves a bunch of dragon spells, as well as some of the adventure cards, to make use of the triggers. Now, due to its stats being a 4/2, I'm not sure how well this card's going to do, just because, well, it dies to almost everything. Hey there, Hench Toes. How you doing? Hope things are going well. Now, the deck idea, I think, is going to be really powerful with our goal for doing a bunch of ramp artifacts here. To be able to play these very expensive spells. Sorry, my mouse cable's getting a little caught weird here. And that means that we can play things like Drakuseth, Niv-Mizzet itself, and some of these other cards that are late game threats, and try to take advantage of this cast trigger just to be able to throw damage anywhere. Now, I'm not too sure if going this ramp plan is the right method or not, but I do feel like with how expensive dragons are, we're going to want these mana fixers. I mean, things are going well. We're just getting started here today. I know I'm a bit late getting online today, but I guess I've been having an unfortunate habit of showing up a little later than I'm supposed to be. Or that is because I was trying to make sure these decks were a little more presentable for the stream, and also was trying to double check some of the card options I had, because it's kind of hard going through all these cards when we're talking about the historic format, because just how diverse the list can be. But I think this is also with how Dragon's Legacy is worded, will actually be a really good deck for our Shivan Devastator. Because it's based off the casting cost of the spell. So, whenever you cast an Adventure Dragon spell, it'll deal damage. Means that this will deal its mana value. So, X plus 1 as damage to any target other than a commander. And then we'll have also this XX flying haste creature and be able to push in a lot of damage. So I think that's one of the reasons why I like the idea of having all this extra ramp, is because we have cards like this as well in the deck. Now, getting through the early game is probably our biggest worry, which is why I do have a lot of these mid-game dragons here. I actually think the Skyship Stalker might actually be pretty good for us, just because it's a flying threat that's able to gain first strike with, you know, a red sink for mana. And I know that's not an amazing card, but I think that for purpose of helping us, you know, develop the board, it's not going to be a bad one for us to use as a good blocker, because of just how powerful the ability First Strike really is. But it also, because it, you know, you can spend that red mana to pump it, it makes a good attacker. Now, we do have a couple of sweepers in the deck, just because we do run a little slow, so, you know, we have to potentially fight the board state. We have some counterspell magic, not a whole lot. I ended up going with Spell Swindle just because we can get treasures from our opponent for countering their spells. We have some bounce magic, we have some tap down because of the adventures, and though I think I'm a little bit light on my counter magic in all honesty, with only really Spell Swindle. But it should be interesting. We're mostly red with this deck idea here, and we can just hop into some games and see how well this will work out. But yeah, the other deck idea, by the way, we have set up for today is Niv-Mizzet itself, and that's just a Spell Slinger style deck. I'm really interested to see how well this deck will work. Take this over to the Brawl, Historic, and we'll try this out. If you can think of any cards that might help this deck idea, feel free to shout them out. I'm not sure how well this deck list will work. This is going to be our first time testing it. And we have until next week, Monday, to try to get the deck list set up for either this or Niv. Unless you have like another commander everyone might decide that we want to switch to. Alright, on the open, very slow hand here. Nice thing about this is we do have Shield Breaker, which is able to destroy some artifacts, but we're against Go Shintai, so this is definitely going to be a mulligan. Man, it's still not very solid here, but I'll try keeping this just because we have the Celestis. Go Shintai is one of those cards that it runs really fast, hard to handle. The Shrines deck actually became really powerful when they made this commander. And part of that reasoning is, if you're not familiar with this, it just has this passive that whenever it or another non-token shrine enters battlefield, you get to create these token shrines. Okay, I guess we win. But it may have kept a gamble of a hand because of mana and decided that they weren't getting land, so they quit. I'm not sure what that one was about. Oh, what just happened there? Everything just downsized for some reason. One second, I'll get everything back to their places. Alright. Alright, this actually looks like a really solid hand because we have all its ramp. We'll keep this. Give Arkel, so Gesper against mono green elves. Actually, it could be black green elves because it's got the black symbol in its descriptor. We'll put this on red since our deck is primarily red. Go for Key to the Archive. I'm actually going to just discard the island here. I mean, Demonic Tutor's pretty cool. I think we'll take that. Nothing wrong with the idea of wanting to keep a card that lets you, get any card from your deck. Let's see here. I think I'm just going to be greedy. Go for a kick here. The reason why this is greedy is just because it makes out we're not really doing anything this turn. Go ahead and use this, and we will tutor up. What do we want to tutor? Probably get Lathless, and then start generating 5/5 dragons every turn. That seems pretty good. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, we can actually play this and also Skyship Stalker in the same turn. We're 1 mana short from being able to play it with Dragon's Legacy here. The Blacklist to the board. Play the Stalker. And there we go. I was actually thinking about maybe going for Dragon's Legacy and then, Young Red Dragon or even Skyship Stalker, just that way we can kill the Oracle and we'll die. Decks from black and red. Well, that's going to be a problem. Alright, let's go for Dragon's Legacy. Go for Imrith. Damage to the face. And let's see, do we just punch in now, or do we wait a turn? I think we have to punch in now. We'll leave the queen back. I think there's anything we can do to finish off the opponent. The problem is they do have the ability to use this for the ultimate here, so that way they get, give all their elves haste, and they get to draw 2 whenever they cast elves. But none of their elves are going to be large enough to really kill our dragons, except for this Muldai here. Yeah. If it wasn't for this Chroma's Memorial. So we're going to have to try to find our Artifact Destruction to get rid of that. If we find a bounce card, we can actually bounce key the Archive and be able to replay it and maybe find something that can actually answer Memorial. I think, like, what are all of our outs here? No blocks. Might have been a mistake to let them ultimate the commander. Just a little mistake. I don't know why I didn't think about how much mana they had. Alright, let's tap the blue. Go for Bank Buster. Go for the draw. That's unfortunate. Alright, we go for treasure tokens. That way we can then do 2 damage. Play the red dragon. Get some more damage. Unfortunately, that's all we can really do here. Now, the opponent can just attack all and we just die. I think, because the only thing we have that's able to block is Imarith. And yeah, we'll go ahead and give them the GGs. There's nothing we can do here. I don't want to wait for them to, you know, do all their draw triggers and just play their whole deck. I underestimated how much playability they had with the mana they had. Especially considering elves come into play with haste, and you have elves that can tap for mana. It means that you can just keep playing, and yeah, I made a misplay there. The main issue is that that's a Planeswalker as a commander, and we can't use Dragon's Legacy's effect to do damage to their commander. Okay. What is this? This is the mana ramping one, yep. And opponent didn't like their hand, so they scoop. Alright. We actually had answers to their deck in our hand. Hopefully we'll actually be able to, you know, play a game and actually see how our deck functions outside of that one elf game. For some reason, we're just joining games and people are just scooping, like, within immediate sense. There is a shame that there's no actual, like, rank queue that you can actually really test to see the competitiveness of your deck. Considering we do like to take our deck to a tournament. So all we have really is a casual queue to jump into. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It means that people who are just trying to play this for fun are able to just play for fun. Okay, so off the open, I'm actually interested to try this because I was curious about how well this looter will work. This is actually an alchemy shifted card. I think this card normally costs like 2 mana, but they adjusted it to be, I think, 1 less. You know, I'm going to give it a try. Let's see how this works. This only does damage to creatures, right? Yeah. We find the Fireblood, which is good, but we're just going to pass it to the opponent. Hold up the discard, then draw. Or draw, then discard. Because we're going to be looking for another land. The problem is we all have such amazing cards in the hand, I don't know what we'd want to really discard here. let's activate. I guess we keep the Bank Buster. I'm gonna give up Brazen Borrower. Fearsome Whelp. Okay. I feel like they probably have a kill spell, but let's go for the Whelp. If the Whelp actually gets to survive, it's a lot of value for us. Alright, Whelp survives, which surprises me greatly. Jeez, how am I still missing lands? Alright, there's a land. We'll discard Magda. Play the land, go for the Buster. And we'll swing the 1. Opponent's got a lot of ramp here, actually, because of this, them playing Simulacrum. Alright, can we get a red source? No. If that's the case, let's draw with the Buster first. Actually hit that red source. It probably actually would have been better if we did the draw discard with the looter first. Because then we could have actually gone for like a 3-drop gold span. Killed the, or hit the Sorin. But this way we actually have the ability to go like Sarkhan here. Do a plus. Get the gold span. Or should we go for Terror first? Alright, Vraska's Contempt. No more discounts. I think it's still better for us to go for the Goldspan Dragon first, just to get the treasure. Because this is the Alchemy variant, though. If the opponent targets this, we don't get treasure. It does give us the attack trigger treasure, but it doesn't give us the if it was targeted treasures. Oh, did my music stop? No, it's still going. Just between songs. Okay, we draw. I decided not to loot. I didn't want to risk pitching a mana source. Or like pitching one of these useful cards here, depending on what the opponent does. We'll go for Fireblood. Do the 2 mana of any color. Double red, play Terror. And from here we'll pass. My opponent apparently has a swords though. Actually, let's take the auto pass off. Go for the crew. Attack here. I know that they can block with the Solemn. Get their card draw. And then bring it back with Sorin, but I feel like the Sorin has so much loyalty on it, I don't want them being able to like pitch a card into their graveyard and just reanimate whatever large creature. Okay, so got some life gain type creatures here. Fortunately, that Aerialist is already going to be a little large for us to really handle. I think what our best bet is just to burn down the house, which is bad for us because, you know, we have to give up Sarkhan. Let's see, so we get a land, played a land. Actually, from here, we should be able to actually play Dragon's Legacy. Plus, play Goldspan. This will deal 5 damage, which actually gets rid of the Aerialist. And now we can attack Goldspan, get the Sorin off the board. The problem is we leave ourselves, you know, very susceptible to a board wipe right now because we're completely tapped out. Okay. Was not expecting Crested Sunmare. How'd this one work again? Other horses have indestructible at the beginning of your end step. If you gain life, create a 5. You just have to have gained life. That's how that worked. We'll sacrifice the looter because I'm an idiot. I'm supposed to use Bank Buster here, but like Crew Bank Buster block. Draw a card. Our turn. Use this to loot. Alright, now we're hitting too many lands. You punch in with both. Burn down the house. Burn down the house should kill all the creatures on the board, because the horse here will lose its indestructibility once Crested Sunmare goes away. Or I guess I could actually do this, which is play Burn Down the House, create the tokens, and use Draconic Intervention. So I'm saving next turn for using Draconic Intervention to just sweep up the board. This only does damage to creatures and will not hurt dragons, so it will just be a one-sided board wipe for us. Fortunately, I do not have the mana for the Spell Swindle. Yeah, at the beginning of each end step, if you gain life, get a bat flying token. That's fine. Considering we're planning on using the intervention, we can get a nice punish on them going wide. Okay, good. I was really worried there for a moment. If they did that plus and pulled our burn down, we would have been in a lot of trouble there. Let's see. We just go ahead and throw all of these here for the block. And we'll throw all the damage at their face. Alright, we'll activate this to get a card draw, gives us a treasure. We'll go ahead and hit them with the intervention. get rid of Burn Down. Go for, let's see. Attack here, attack here. Add mana. And yeah, there we go. Opponent scoops it up. Because I was going to use the mana from there, use Town Razor Tyrant, and put it on either one of these two lands. And that makes it so that way they would have to pay 2 life to keep the card. And we would have had enough mana for the Spell Swindle. So, I mean, that actually looked like our deck can work here. Even though we had that very awkward land draw at the start. I think I might just need to include some more counterspell magic, just because there's some cards you just can't let resolve, like board wipes, once when you have a board built. And relying on a 5-cost counterspell as our only counterspell, kind of awkward. I think it's like, do I just go with a simple, like, Dissipate, just general counterspell? Or do I just only need to rely on, like, maybe a Negate or something? Alright, Orha for our opponent, so white-black Clerics. This is not a very good hand. We're going to have to hit Mulligan. We have, like, 0 interaction for the longest time with this. Alright, this is a much better hand. We'll keep this one. Alright, we'll start off with the Temple, get that Scry. We'll keep the land. Alright, Dawnbringer Cleric. Gives them some life. That card actually doesn't really do anything for a while in the early game here, because all it does is gain life, destroy enchantments, or exile a card from a graveyard. Not a bad card in the slightest, but it itself is just a very slow card. Alright, I'm gonna keep the Fading Hope because, you know, all we're taking is some small chip damage here. Reveal the Mountain, play out the Celestis, and I'll be the opponent's turn. Day-Night Cycle will potentially give us a lot of draw value here, as well as some life gain. Alright. We'll draw. We'll go land to the board. We'll just pass it back. I don't want to bring this to the board right away. We'll take the action. And I'll ship the land. The reason I'm not bringing it out right away is because I like the idea of holding onto a protection spell here. We're actually going to destroy the artifact there. Destroy target artifact, create a treasure. Don't want my opponent getting that, you know, draw value. Alright, opponent chips in for 2 more points of damage. Seems to have to have a 1-cost interaction spell, considering the pause that happened from after they declared their attack. Alright, let's go for a Mountain. Go for Laughless. And we have the blue mana for Fading Hope to help protect it. Mangara, the Diplomat. So if we play 2 spells or attack with more than 1 creature, they get to draw a card. So we'll just go for 1 spell. And we'll attack with the Lathliss. And it'll be the opponent's turn. Does she have an activate? I forgot. Oh, that's right. She actually pumps all dragons by an additional power for 2 mana. I always forget about that. Spellbinder for our opponent. That lets them check our hand, exile a card, and tax it by 2. Okay. Resolve away, opponent. Which card do you decide to tax? Okay, so they tax the orb because this allows us to give our dragon haste. So it makes sense. Their end of turn, though, we were going to use Stomp. And we are going to get rid of the Diplomat. Or attempt to, at least. Our opponent's going to sacrifice it to the Village Rites, draw some cards. We'll take the action. And we'll just discard the Blink of an Eye. I don't feel like we need that. Let's bring down the orb. And we'll send these 2 in. Alright. I decided to go for the orb just because that way we can just attack with this immediately. That way if they also are holding on to like the Foretold card maybe being Doomscar, we can attack in and after they like board wipe. And get ourselves a whole bunch of treasures to be able to potentially replay back to the board. Alright, rally the ranks for our opponent. Not too worried about that. And not really worried about that one either. Yeah, that's a GG situation here because we'll bounce that, 2 damage there, play this off the red mana for the haste, and just get so much lethal. I have to admit, this deck is interesting. I think we actually have a decent deck idea here. Just going to revisit our deck list, see if there is anything that looks like we may want to adjust based off the games that we've played. Because I do think we need maybe some kind of early counterspell action just to protect ourselves from a board wipe. I could go with Pact of Negation, but the extra cost after the fact still is an issue. But I guess we can maybe include one of these. Include Wash Away. And we'll go for one more general counterspell. And we'll just leave it light on the counterspell magic overall. Let's see, which counterspell do we want? Probably Dissipate, right? Yeah, we'll go with it like that. And to make room... Yeah. Trying to think this one out. I think actually I'm going to take Magda out. Take out the young red dragon. And probably a young blue dragon as well. I was trying those out just because they were, you know, from the same set as Dragon's Legacy. They also gave us the ability to get the triggers off of using the both playing a dragon and doing an adventure. But I don't feel like they're strong enough. Alright. Let's see, so far our record has been... We lost the elf deck. We won against Orzhov twice. Once as Soren and once as Cleric. Is there a fourth game that we did? Or were those part of the people just surrendering immediately? Alright, Ivy the Gleeful Spell Thief deck. I haven't seen someone build around that one yet. I think I'll keep this. One drawback to this Sylex is it does blow up all of our mana rocks as well. But it is a destroy everything type card. So I included it just because it gives us the ability to destroy things that we might not normally be able to interact with, like enchantments. That's not good. Well, I guess we'll put this to the board just to sit there. The fact that we missed the land drop feels real bad. Alright, well, I guess we have to pass it back. Probably should have just ran out the shield breaker just to be a little body, because I don't think they're probably running too many... Oh, well, I guess I'm wrong. They do run artifacts. I'm surprised they're running Mirror Box of all things. I'm not sure how Mirror Box really fits into a commander deck too well. I decided not to bring Shieldbreaker straight to the board. They have a lot of mana. Gonna not want to let them resolve certain cards like that. This is whenever you cast or copy an instant spell, you draw a card. We don't want that to resolve just because of how this card works. Because if you cast something that targets a creature as a single target, you can also copy it to target her. So that's just double draw for all their spells. Let's attempt Frost and Fire. They're going to slip that out. That's fine. The reason why that's fine is because we'll be able to get to Scry 3, try to find our lands. And third trigger will allow us to get some draw discard at value. Let's see, how this one works again? Whenever this enters battlefield, for each opponent, tap up to one target creature. Each of those creatures to untap. Let's actually put that on the bottom. We'll keep these. Activate this for 1, 2. I want to get this off the board because having the +1/+1 counters makes it a very serious threat. Pass it back to the opponent. Interesting. Let's put this back in our hand. Frost and Fire. Not even going to attempt the attack. The 2/2 zombies couldn't block us, but... Alright. We've taxed it quite a bit there. Ooh, that's nice. Let's get the lands first. Go for the legacy. Now, they can use our creatures, as you saw, as ways to trigger Spell Thief. Because it just simply has to be any spell that targets a single creature other than this, that they can duplicate to it. Jin actually is very dangerous for us. So that's why they're running Mirror Box. Makes sense. So we go to land, we play Lathless. We're going to take the 2. Lathless to board. Get all types of triggers here. Alright, with that off the board... Let's see. I'm gonna discard the Orb. Orb is really good for us, but I'd just rather keep the regular land right now. Alright, opponent's going to enter the unknown, which allows them to explore, so they get to reveal the top card, choose to leave it on top, or throw it into the graveyard. Alright, they throw both cards into the graveyard. Trying to think if we can afford to not block. Their deck probably runs a fair number of pump spells, as we've seen, like, they are all about targeting their cards. In fact, I know that Shore Up is no longer a card that they can use. It does offer some... that doesn't work the way you thought it would. It does reduce the mana cost passively, but it doesn't get to keep the Hadi Jin's extra power. Because Hadi Jin is worded... its power is equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. Alright. I'm gonna take a risk. Alright, we take it. Nothing bad happens to us. Alright, we go for a Terror of the Peaks. Do 5 damage. I thought the opponent had some kind of trick, so that's why I did that. We go for Brazen Borrower, and we do 2 damage here. Now, the Brazen Borrower bounce on a token is great for us, because we no longer have to deal with that token. Now we'll have ourselves quite the board of defenders for us. Now, if they actually didn't copy Blossoming Defense to the Spell Thief, we would have been able to kill it with that ETB trigger from Terror of the Peaks. And there we go, yeah, we forced the opponent to scoop up. Every single time we've managed to actually win a game, it's because we usually get Lathless here. And I can't rely on this card. I'd like to see how we can do without it, but it's so good. Like, get that ability to cast our dragons, deal damage to anything, and then just be able to get all these extra dragon tokens. Maybe I should just like make mono red dragon Lapras a deck, just because Lapras will run away with games. I don't think Arena has enough red dragons that would probably support that. We'll go ahead and do 2 more games of this, and we'll switch up over to our other deck. We'll switch over to Niv and see how well our Niv deck works. And figure out which one we might want to use for the tournament. That's going to be for next week. Sadly, if you didn't hear from me earlier, there's no tournament this week due to the host of the tournament being unable to do it this time. So, it's basically usually it's our like average rate of participating in the tournament is about like 3 out of 4 times in a month. Because something always seems to happen at least one of the weeks. Alright, so we're against Prosper Tome Bound, which actually didn't fire. That means that they probably like left the queue as it was matchmaking. Bit of a shame. Their deck is actually... Prosper Tomebound is an interesting deck, because it's all about being able to play cards from exile to get extra value. So you use impulse-like cards where you exile them, and you can play them until like the end of your turn or the end of like your next turn. And it's got some real power. I've played against it before. Alright, this is a bit of a greedy keep. I'm going to keep this one. We are against Tiamat, which I have actually played a Tiamat Dragons deck during the tournament. And that actually did really well. We only lost 1 of our matches. So, definitely has some serious power with Tiamat. We ended up coming out in, I think, 3rd due to the matching breakdowns. I'm trying to think how to say the right term for it. But, any case. Alright, there we go. Opponent's starting off now. Cold Steel Heart for our opponent. Calling green. We'll go for our Bank Buster. I was trying to think, like, do we just Brazen Borrow that right now? Slow them down a little bit. But I think what we do is we probably just Prismari Command. Destroy their Mana Rock. Because we want to keep them off of being able to get this out as fast as they can. I don't remember how you work. Gets +2/+0. When this dies, if its power is greater than 0, next dragon comes into play. Gets extra power. So yeah, let's go ahead and do the command right now. Destroy artifact, create treasure token. I'm doing this right away, just to make sure that the opponent doesn't have the mana to play a 5-drop dragon against us this turn. Let's see. When this enters the battlefield, create a treasure token. Whenever you attack, you may sacrifice 1 or more treasure tokens to give it double strike. Okay. Let's see. Play Spirebluff Canal. This allows us to set up to play Niv-Mizzet next turn. So we'll hold back to draw a card with Bankbuster here. We feel like we need to. We have Brazen Borrower to bounce. That's definitely a good bounce target. Thanks to this being the historic format, it does use the alchemy variant of Goldspan Dragon, so they do not get a replacement treasure. We sadly don't draw with Bankbuster this turn, but we hit Niv to the board. Pass it to the opponent. If they choose to attack in with these, I'm going to probably play it safe and use Bankbuster here to crew and block for us. But opponent seems to be stuck on their mana. Let's see here. We'll just go to the face. Play Mirror Breaker. And I'm going to pass it back. Just playing it safe against the opponent because we don't want to overcommit to anything too much here. Alright. Bankbuster, draw a card, damage the face. I'm also like worried about attacking with Niv-Mizzet just because I see that they have double white. I just instinctively now am a little worried about dealing with Wandering Emperors. But also, they're holding up 4 mana up, so we could be getting baited by a... what's that spell called again? Sell the Wreckage. Alright, opponents deep in the tank. We might be getting a Salt Scoop from our opponent. A bit of a shame if that's the case. Alright, there we go. Damage to the opponent's face. Let's see, let's go ahead and put a point of damage here. We're not going to be using this Silex, so we'll discard it to the Mirror Breaker, and I think we'll also discard Frost and Fire. And there we go, yeah, opponent just scoops it up. The reason why I was just going to discard those cards is because I can use Bankbuster for one more draw, finish that off, then we can attack in. But anyway, Chase, we get there. Alright, one last game with this, and then we'll switch over to Niv-Mizzet. Yeah, the opponent on Dragons, the Tiamat deck, we managed to just beat them because we kept them off their mana sources. It was a bit of a rude play that we did, but yeah, if you're trying to win, you have to take those rude plays sometimes. All right, we'll take the mulligan. I think I can keep this one because we have one more land we can play Relic. Relic leads to both of these as like this being a decent sized body at that point. But we can play Prismari, which kind of boosts us up to playing either our Commander or Lathliss. What's our opponent playing in? Erebos? See, whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life, draw a card, sacrifice creature, give -2/-1. Alright. It's been a while since I've, you know, interacted with that card, so I had to reread it. Gonna hold on to our Shield Breaker just in case our opponent does do some mana rocks or some other artifact that we don't like. Alright, Slaughter Specialist. I guess it's a good thing we didn't put more to the board, because it looks like our opponent's planning on murdering what's on the board. Alright, we get the Relic to the board. It's a nice indestructible mana rock, so we don't have to worry about the opponent destroying it. Now, in black, there's not a whole lot that you can do to interact with artifacts as is. See, so if we can hit a land, we can actually bring out Prismari. Oop, there we go. And we'll have this as protection for it, because we can return target creature to its owner's hand. So we don't have to worry about them kill spelling it. So of course, Sword Coast Serpent. It's like a more expensive, bigger body version of the... That is a loud animation. But in which case, I was going to say, is it like a more expensive version of Brazen Borrower? And it only returns creatures instead of non-land permanent, but this one can at least target your own things to protect them. Alright, let's go for this to the board. We'll punch in for the 3. And we'll pass it back. Let's see, what's our opponent's plan here? Oh, Cavalier of Night. Okay. So we're going to sacrifice one of their creatures to try to destroy one of ours. See what they try to do with this. I imagine they have to sacrifice Slaughter Specialist here, because they're going to keep the Morbid Opportunist for the draw value. Now, where do you go for the target? Okay. We bounce this back to our hand. Damage upstairs. Go to the hand. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We actually can play this off our current mana. I think that I'd probably bring this back to the board. The opponent's already got the draw trigger off Morbid Opportunist, so I can use this as a chump block. Alright, bring this to the board. Attack in. Opponent's turn. Oh, whoops, this is a sorcery. I meant to use this right away. That's my bad. Because it prevents a creature from untapping is why I was planning on doing it. So if I did that to the Cavalier of the Night, we didn't have to worry about that coming in for 4 and giving the opponent some lifelink. Alright, so I'm not sure why the opponent specifically Dark Ritualed out a Nighthawk. It means that they're planning on playing something else during their turn, or they're planning on using this sacrifice feature. No blocks. A Spawn of Mayhem. Okay. Let's see, what's the better thing to do? We probably use this, kill Spawn of Mayhem. Or we can actually go better play Lapis. That kills Spawn of Mayhem, and then we can also bring out Looter, get ourselves a 5/5 dragon. So kill this. I am denying us the ability to play the 6/6 body here. Okay, so opponent's going to kill off our legacy, I guess. Not, maybe. I don't know why they did that. Did they? Oh, they made the thought that it was based off of Dragon Legacy's power? It's actually based off the casting cost of the card. So there might have been some confusion by the opponent. I brought the Looter out just because we're going to use it as a chump blocker, as well as give us that 5/5 body. Now, let's see. We can bring out Devastator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, be able to do 6 damage to a target and then swing with a 5/5. Alright, Tainted Adversary for our opponent. It would actually do more damage if we... Right, so we chump block the 5. I don't actually offer the 6/6 blocker against either of these just because I'm worried that they have some way to make it so that way they could sacrifice these to shrink the queen and die in combat. Alright, so let's see. Opponent's at 18. Yeah, that's should be lethal. Go for 3 mana. The reason I'm doing 3 is if they do actually have some way to protect this, we can use Queen to tap it down and still get through. If not, this will allow us to actually attack for more damage thanks to the Queen's ability. So let's see, we're looking at... Assuming they kill off the Queen. We can activate in response. That'd be... let's see. 6. They just weaken this one again? Okay. Activate. And kill. There we go. Alright. Again, though, I get the Queen and win with the Queen. I want to see how this works without it, but if we keep drawing it, I guess that's a good thing. Really kind of skews like our view on the testing here. If you're just joining us, I'll go ahead and show you the full build here. We actually do have the deck list posted in our Discord if you want to check it out. Links in the About section for our Twitch here. Now, this deck idea here, we have only lost to one person, and that was... shoot, who did we lose to again? I'm actually forgetting which one we lost to. But we only lost once in all these tests. The problem with our tests, though, we ended up drawing Lapras in almost all of our games that we won. And it's like, I think we only managed to play 2 games without Lapras. One of them we lost, and another one we managed to win. So, I would have liked to have been able to test this more without Lapras. I guess, just to know how the rest of the cards were working. But it did feel like most of the cards had good synergy. So this deck idea doesn't feel bad with Lozhan, the Dragon's Legacy. Its ability to deal damage anywhere, except for Commander, is pretty good. But I'm wondering how much that... Because there's been a couple times where we stumbled a little bit on getting to our opponent because we couldn't target the Commander. Oh, by the way, now remember, the thing we lost to was Mono Green Elves. Because the person was able to ultimate their Planeswalker. But, yeah, no, I do think this is an interesting deck. I think this one will probably do pretty decent during a tournament. I'm not sure what we can do to maybe have more consistency to it. Well, I do think once we brought in the extra counterspell magic, it did help, because we did see one game where we actually did use a counterspell, because relying only on the one spell swindle, one, it's an expensive counterspell to have to rely on, but two, only having one of to deal with potential board wipes feels a little dangerous in a blue deck. Or I should say a deck that has blue as an option. But overall, I do like how it was functioning. Alright, so we'll go ahead and jump over to our Niv deck. Give me a second while I get myself a drink. Alright. So, this Niv-Mizzet deck is built very different from our other deck. Because this one is all about taking advantage of Niv-Mizzet Parun's abilities. Now, one of the best things about this card, we don't have to worry about it getting counterspelled. It can't be countered. But whenever we draw a card, we get to deal 1 damage to any target. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, we draw a card. So this is a very powerful card for our deck to use as a commander. This does mean that we're going to run a lot of cards that are just straight up cantrips that, you know, we play them, we draw a card. But we also have other types of control magic, whether it be between our counter spells, our bounce magic, and we'll see how well we can do. Now, partially because I'm doing a little bit of a meme with this deck, we are including the Ancient Silver Dragon and the Dragon Mage with our opponent to potentially hit our opponent and get a huge draw value that would cause Niv to just, you know, machine gun the board. Now, I'll be honest, Dragon Mage, probably not worth it, because this makes it so each player discards their hand, then you draw 7 cards. It does mean Niv will be able to just, like I said, machine gun 7 points of damage, but we do get a restock on our hand, so we could potentially still interact with whatever cards our opponent gets, so it could actually work out just fine. The problem is it's 7 mana. For 8 mana, we have the Silver Dragon. We get a nice 8/8 flyer that, if it manages to deal combat damage to a player, we roll a d20 and then draw cards equal to the result. You have no more maximum hand size for the rest of the game. This does mean, if we connect with this against our opponent, we have Niv on the board. Our opponent could just immediately die. Now, since it's as late of a gameplay card as it is, I imagine that we connect the 8 and we probably just might be killing our opponent because of the value that we get for the draw. The only problem is, it is a roll a d20 and then draw the cards equal to the result. Means that we could actually successfully get the attack in, and we draw 1 card. And it's going to feel a little bad. But now, at the same time, we could roll the 20, we hit 20 cards, and then still have like this awkward nature of what the heck do we do with all these cards if we haven't managed to actually, you know, force the opponent to concede or win. Now, like I mentioned, we do have a lot of cards that draw cards. So cards like Inspired Idea, Thirst for Discovery, cards that make it so that way we draw if we play on our opponent's turn with the Hippocamp. We do actually run Midnight Clock because this is a great card that allows us to get mana. But if this gets to 12 counters on it, because a counter gets put onto it on every upkeep, so our opponent's upkeep, our upkeep, we end out shuffling our hand and graveyard back into the deck and draw 7 cards. So lots of value on that. We do also have Narset, Part of Our Veils, in the deck to, even though it's not draw, it helps us find a lot of our cards. We're mostly not creatures, so very rare times we'll whiff. But I'm not saying it's not possible. The other thing is it denies our opponent card draw by making it so that they're restricted to only 1 draw per turn. Which means that when we run the card, if you're not familiar with it, where did it go? There it is. Commit memory. I was looking for it in the 4-class slot, but it gets put over here. So for 4 mana, you can commit something. Makes that way you put a spell or non-land permanent into the owner's library second from the top. But important, we have memory. So we shuffle the player's hand and graveyard into their libraries, draw 7 cards. If we happen to have Narset on the board, it means that we get the full value, our opponent gets 1 card. Now, it's a very common combo, but just for those people who hadn't seen it yet, there you go. We also have a little bit of a rude form of control in our deck. We are running Mass Manipulation, where we can gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers. And since we use a lot of mana rocks in our deck, it does mean that we could potentially play this and steal multiple creatures and or planeswalkers. So we'll see how well this deck works. I'm imagining this deck is one of those things where we could just get a lot of the card draw and none of the removal, and we just die to the board, or we get all the removal and none of the card draw, and we end up playing a very awkward game. So who knows? We'll see how this works out. We could also just draw the meme cards, which are super late game plays, and just be stuck with them. Oh, I forgot to switch the deck. Still on Lozhan. Let me... Alright, I got the cancel. Alright. Play game. As always, if you ever have any questions, feel free to shout out. If you have any suggestions for cards, I'm also willing to hear them. I don't think I make perfect decks here. There could be cards I overlooked, or maybe just didn't think about. Like, well, I guess that would be the same as overlooking. But maybe I just I think that's it. Yeah. No, there's just in general lots of cards in the game. So, all right, off the start, we got our Midnight Clock, so we got a little ramp. We got Rending Flame, which deals 5 damage to a target. Reverse Krenko, so we're against goblins. So Intervention's going to be great against this, so we'll keep it. We'll lead with the red. We already have more than enough blue sources. We're just looking for some red sources here. Alright. Opponent starts off creating some tokens already. Oh, Goblin Chieftain? Alright, we have to hit Rending Flame on that. This cannot live. This gives all of them, their creatures, +1/+1 and haste. It's such an issue because of how Krenko works. Alright. That's actually a lot of ramp here. So we go for the Relic, because we need double red. I would have liked to have been able to hold off on playing this so I could try kicking it, because I'm greedy for the mana like that. But at this point, we can use Draconic Intervention, sweep up the board, and since it's exile, it won't trigger the Horde Master. Alright, let's hit him with the sweep. This to board. At this point, we can now just put Niv-Mizzet on board and be able to control it, considering the opponents missed their 4th land drop. Wily Goblin for the opponent. And that seems to be the end of their turn. Alright, let's see here. You know, let's actually be a little cheeky. We'll go for the Dragon Mage. Play the land. The reason why I say this is a little cheeky is because we can actually now set up that we can play Niv-Mizzet next turn. Attack in. We get the discard draw effect happen. And we just absolutely destroy this opponent's board. Sadly, yeah, opponent's giving us the GGs, so Dragon Mage, which I didn't think was going to be that great of a card, ended up actually being quite the devastating combo here. Now, we did actually have an issue where we almost didn't hit enough red sources for Niv-Mizzet, which is a legitimate issue. But I mean, the important thing is we managed to make it through. Yeah, Krenko Mono Red is actually very fast and aggressive, as you saw. So if it wasn't for that sweeper that we had, we would have lost that one. And the fact that we ended up with the Exile-based sweeper made it all that much better because they had the card that punished us if we did Destroy instead of Exile. Oh, hey, Evil Jin. By the way, I didn't notice you there for a moment because you're in the YouTube there. Let's see. Neighbor wants me to get back into Commander, and he runs a Niv. Oh, man, I looked at his deck and should have not played versus me. Mine is much better now. You would laugh. I mean, that's really cool there, Evil. I mean, Niv is definitely a powerhouse of a Commander. And there's a lot of different ways that you can play it. Now, with us being in MTGA here, MTGA, we don't have access to those cards that you have because you're playing paper, and the deck definitely gets more busted when you can get some of those older cards. Because after all, like, we don't have access to Fairy's Puzzle Box or crazy things like that. But glad that you're still enjoying playing in the Commander situation there. I know you end up basically walking away from Magic, but nice to see that you found some people out there that actually still play. Alright, off the open here. We're against another Ivy deck. This is definitely not a keep, though. This one we can keep. It's a little slow going in sense of the costs on cards, but we have ramp. And we actually have the turn 2 ramp, turn 3 ramp. Alright, Signet for our opponent as well. Yeah, Mind Moil and Puzzle Box are amazing cards for Niv, but unfortunately we just don't have them in this client. Alright, let's go ahead and go for the Celestis here. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just foretell here. I could actually hold up the Wash Away and counterspell the copy that Spell Thief would give them, but I think we can go down a turn where we just go all ramp and set up the removal spell. Oh, Gem Razor. Oh, wow, I forgot that worked that way. Well, that's kind of a GG situation already for us. Yeah. I forgot that worked on Mutate. Now, granted, I honestly wouldn't think to play around a Gem Razor normally, so, well, let's go ahead and get rid of this. The opponent counters with Snakeskin Veil. Okay, so play for 1 blue, counterspell Snakeskin Veil. I'm trying to see if we can still fight our way through this one. If we actually had just one of these mana artifacts still, I think we'd probably be in a decent position in this fight. Like, we could still come back, but I don't think we have that opportunity here anymore. We'd have to hit one of our sweepers, but we still need mana to play things. Alright, we'll go for Temple. Land to the bottom. Go for a Insight. Yeah, the reason why I think we lose is because the opponent probably might have a pump spell, and we just die this turn. If they don't have a pump spell, I was gonna say that yeah, because that's 10 damage there. All they have to do is hit anything else to it, but alright. We're down to 2. We're in the danger zone. Can we top deck the 5 damage sweeper? Alright, Parcel Beast. They must have drawn that after the fact, because that actually would have upped their damage. Would have only brought us down to 1, but... trying to think, is there anything we can do here? You know, let's have some fun. I'm going to bring this to the board, and then I'm going to attempt Tezzeret's Gambit. Yep, it'll let us do it. I'm going to kill myself. There we go. Did the opponent think they could kill me? No, I kill myself. Oh, Rudy! And I need to double check the audio on that. I think that was playing a little loud there for that alert, but hopefully I didn't blow everyone's ears out with that. But in which case, hello Rudy and all raiders. Welcome to the channel. Baby raid again, bro. How's you doing? Was fine. I mean, we're doing okay over here. We're just testing some deck ideas for Historic Brawl. Normally we'd be actually doing a Historic Brawl tournament right now, but sadly the organizer had to cancel it. So we're going to be looking at the just deck ideas that we can get prepared for next week. We had some requests in our Discord to try to build some kind of Izzet deck. And we were either told to build around Niv-Mizzet or Lozhan. We just played some Lozhan, which is from Baldur's Gate. And the deck actually worked pretty well. This is a Dragon's Adventure deck. And Niv-Mizzet we're testing out as a Spellslinger deck. So far we're 1-1 with Niv. Lozhan, I forgot the exact amount that we did, but you know, since we have raiders here, let's go ahead and just give them a quick peek at the deck we're playing. If you're ever interested about the decks that we play, I try to post a copy of them to the Discord in our deck ideas section. I can find a link, not a link, but a list for both of these in the deck ideas section of our Discord, and actually a link below in the about section to find our Discord. But in any case, the deck idea here is just going to be brief because everyone else already heard it. It's all about Niv-Mizzet. So whenever we play spells, instant or sorceries, we draw cards, but also triggers off our opponent's instants and sorceries. Whenever we draw cards, we deal damage to our opponent, to any target. So we do a lot of cantrip spells, so spells that we play that gives us card draw. We also just do a lot of just targeted removals that we can, you know, survive to get Niv out. And we actually do have Ancient Silver Dragon and Dragon Mage as these strange, like, top-end deck cards that when we hit the opponent, we get to draw a burst of cards and maybe just machine gun the board to control it. If you're interested in doing mini tournament with a few friends and streamers, doing a Historic Brawl and Standard Legal tournament in your Discord. Oh, really, Rudy? I'll go ahead and have to swing by and check that out. What days do you usually do those on? Do you have like a schedule on how often and when you do them, or is it just kind of as you're available kind of situation? Because, I mean, when it comes to playing on Arena here, I mostly stream standard content for most of the days. I do a little drafting and I do Historic Brawls here, so. And Mondays usually are Historic Brawl night to participate in tournament with the Crabs. Yeah, so as I was mentioning though, it's like, as you can see, a lot of it's card draw based to support this. Let's see, we haven't started yet. We're organizing it at the moment. It will be so everyone can play each other at a good time that suits. Your friendly, your friend Lily is gonna be playing too. Oh, okay. I'm trying to think like when is our time that we're most available. So, but no, I'll definitely look forward to checking out your Discord and seeing when we can possibly sign up to do these things. I'm trying to think when. Well, I mean, I'll have to. I'll take a look and we'll get in contact on that. And yep, thanks for the link to the Rude Crew. Such a interesting way that you're referring to yourself, considering you're, such a friendly person. But, any case. But yeah, no, like I said, we're just testing deck ideas, trying to see which one we want to play during the next tournament, and what cards may we want to like switch out to make the decks run smoother. We did a little adjustments to the Lozhan deck, so I actually didn't update that to the Discord on our end if you're looking to try our decks out. But the Niv-Mizzet deck, we haven't made any adjustments to because we literally only have played 2 games so far. Oh, a link is in the About section. I don't actually have a bot that does that. Sorry there, Rudy. But if you need that link... There you go. There's the link to our Discord. Sorry, it took me a moment there. I always have a brief moment of trying to remember how to find the link on the Discord itself. All right. Oh, we're gonna say Joda deck. I haven't actually played against one of these ones yet. But, well, yeah, the link's there still for anyone who wishes to join our Discord. Hope you are, everyone's welcome to check it out. If you ever have any questions about anything we're doing, feel free to chat, ask there. We do have some people who do chat in the Discord and will, possibly give you some suggestions as well. Pretty casual over here, but in any case... See, I'm not really sure if we want to keep this or not, but we'll go ahead and try it. I'm not really sure what to expect from a Joda deck. I haven't played against them. I figure the Abrade's going to be useful because they're going to be using mana rocks. And blowing those up to deny them access to those the mana types probably will help us a lot. Gonna pass turn. I want to see if the opponent will play a different artifact to the board for a purpose of destroying with Abrade. The fact that our opponent was on the play does give us some trouble. Ooh, Helm of the Host. That's dangerous. No, I can't let you have that. I'm sorry. Alright, let's go for Tez's Gambit. Draw some cards. Shame we draw this now, because I would have liked to have been able to have this earlier. Alright, Migration's passed, so the opponent's going to have the mana. There's no stopping them from playing out their Joda here. The best play is probably bring out the Cold Steel Heart. Pull it on blue. Actually, we're mostly a red deck. Let's go for red. Enters tapped. Yeah, I did try to state at the end of the video that the deck does run into a lot of issues with how many legendaries we were running. And that we really needed to try to trim out some of those legendaries. It's a goofy deck idea, but it ended up working out pretty decently for us in the overall. But it has issues. It's one of those things. When you combo off with it, it's goofy and fun, but it's very hard to get to work. Alright. So opponent's got Joda. We go for Niv. Opponent not wanting to let us have any fun over here. Alright, so we're going to have to bounce Joda back. Take action. Let's see. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Try to think, like, how much mana we have. That's going to be a lot of damage if they decide to come with it, but we got lucky. They held the Vengeful Victim back here. Wait a minute. So... Ooh, this is nice. Okay, so we Brittle Blast. All of them get debuffed, so that way, if they were to die, they go into exile. Opponent's going to immediately pop King Darien. That doesn't protect anything on their board, but it does mean that it goes to the graveyard. But they know that they're going to lose their board here. I'm sorry, why aren't you dead? Creature tokens you control gain hex. Oh, okay. It was having state-based action issues dying because they had to choose whether this went to exile or not, or to the command zone. Alright. Atali is a lot of damage. Now, how is this worded? You may cast them. Alright, let's go for Niv back to the board. Playing a dangerous game here by going for the Niv. But I think it's our best out. Alright, Joda to the board. So they can attack. What'd they hit? Nothing? No, they hit something. They hit Vivian. Oh. Alright, Blitz of the Thundering Raptor doesn't really do anything. It does 2 damage to anything that they want creature-wise. So they can hit Niv, but That's not an issue. They actually give us a hand here by playing it instead of just choosing not to cast it. Okay. Oh. Oh! Oh! Do you think you should have 40 life in this format? It speeds it up a great deal for one-on-one play. Oh no, I'm short a blue source. Oh no. All right. Let's see here. Let's blink of an eye kick. Put this back in hand. We'll get 2 draw triggers from this. 1 point here. One point here. I can stomp. That's effectively 3 damage. And I can play this. That's effectively 4 more damage. But better for us to use Seize instead of Inspiring Idea. Discard Archmage. Brainstorm, that's 3 damage. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Stomp. Brainstorm. Autopay. 1 point. And let's see, put cards back on top of deck. Let's go ahead and put you there and this. Yeah, we'll put him that way. Let's see, the thing is, it's when it comes to the Brawl format, I think it's better with it having it 20 life instead of 40, just because 40 is meant for the idea that you have multiple players involved, so that way somebody's not like picked on and taken out immediately. And in a one-on-one scenario, it's really hard to let that be a balancing thing. I decided to stay on the defense due to our low life here. I like the idea of playing the Dragon Mage, but we're going to give it up. See, actually... yeah, we'll give up the Dragon Mage. We have enough blue sources now that we can actually use Mass Manipulation. So if they go for Jonah, play some type of small creature, we can take advantage to steal their whole board. By the way, they don't get an immediate trigger from Unifier because it's whenever they cast... Wait. Oh, they actually do get a trigger. Why didn't... Why'd that trigger? But in any case. Oh, did they whiff? No, they should have had a trigger. Why didn't this... I'm confused. They played them in the right order. Whenever legendary cast from your hand, exile cards from top of your library until you hit a non-land card with lesser mana value. Or did they actually whiff? Was there no 3 costs left in their deck? I mean, I guess that's possible. I didn't see it do the swoosh through. But in any case, opponent scoops it up, so we did get the win here. This Mass Manipulation, though, is definitely going to steal quite a bit here, because let's see, it's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we had X3, so we'd actually steal Joda, Mr. Ofrio, and Vivian. opponent would be probably so salty. But, Hench, though, you said that you... Let's see, I think maybe in a few more sets they'll make it 40. Why do you think we should go to 40 life instead of the 25? I'm actually kind of curious, because I know some people like the idea of going up to 40 life to make it more like Commander. But if you're doing one-on-one, 40 life is a lot of life. So if you ever plan on trying to design any type of aggro deck, that's a lot of extra life to have to overcome. And I don't think it's, it limits a lot of deck possibilities, is what I was thinking. By putting the life at 25, I think it does actually allow you to build aggro decks and have them actually compete. But then again, Brawl's already also special in the sense that we have a lot more Planeswalker options than Commander can. Because regular Commander, you can only use Planeswalkers if they have the tag on them that they can be your Commander. See, it's because the late game decks are harder to make and work. I mean, I can kind of see what you're saying, but the thing is, I do believe there are a number of low-cost commanders that go to the quick aggro builds really well. But if you think about it, I'm playing Niv-Mizzet here, and I'm actually doing pretty well. Nothing about my deck is quick. And we've been able to show you can play slow games and win. And if you want to play in the Historic Brawl format, you can use something as annoyingly and disgusting as the Little Teferi. Because Historic Brawl Teferi. This one right here. Oh wait, did it just get banned? No, it's right here. This is the one that you use for Historic Brawl. This one right here actually shuts people out really well because you just build yourself white, blue, hard control, nothing but board wipes. You have just a couple win cons in your deck, and the ability that you can just keep replaying this to the board to make it so that way you can bounce, get card draw, slow your opponent down, but also make it so that we can potentially get this in the later part of the game where you just uptick this. And go, okay, and I'm going to board wipe on your turn, so that way you're no longer playing the game. It actually makes it a really disgusting deck. And you can also use, where's the other Teferi? Oh, I don't have him. Hero of Dominaria also makes for a disgusting commander also in this format, just because I refer to him as the fun police. Because if you ever come across him in a just regular historic arena, this gets on the board and you don't have the ability to get it off the board, well, you're just probably not going to be able to kill your opponent, because the amount of draw value that this provides, plus the ability to keep untapping your lands to be able to keep protecting it or control the board in general, it's not fun to play against. Now, that's if we're talking about just hard control. And that's the thing is, it's if you go with the idea of going for 40 life decks, you're going to see a lot of hard control style builds that go with the idea I'm just going to suddenly win. If you also want to go about deck ideas, this one's not fast. We managed to win a tournament with this. And this Tatyova Steward of Tides deck, which you actually can find on our YouTube, it's just a very simple ramp deck, and nothing about this is very fast for defeating our opponents. But the value that you get from being able to animate all of your lands into creatures, 3/3 flying creatures, is so great. And we use some just general bounce and control options, and we slow down our opponent to what we need, and we get there. It does have some late game payoffs, but most of the way we win this is because of animating lands. I hope that these comments make sense. I mean, if you have anything that you might want as I mean, it does make hard decks like this one, which I was experimenting with, harder to play because I don't have that extra life buffer, like you're saying, that 40 life total. But this combo deck here, I'm trying to use the Scholar of Antiquity. I haven't actually done this one on stream yet. Because I don't feel like I have this one in a good place. It's very hard to get going, but if it does actually manage to hit the right cards, it just immediately spins out of control and wins games. Problem is, you're all right. Aggro decks are very strong and hard to handle, especially when you're looking at some of the commander options, like Minsk, for example. The Timeless Hero here is actually one of those ridiculously powerful commanders, I think. Just because you play him for 5, you uptick him once, Boo's immediately a 4/4 trample creature. And if you do manage to kill Boo, but you don't manage to kill Minsk, well, you're going to have to deal with that 4/4 trample creature again. So, I mean, it's all about how people are building cards and decks. Like, if you wanted to, you could go with a deck for Historic Brawl. And you could build yourself around Liliana the Veil here. And you can make yourself a hard control deck. You can make yourself an aggro deck. Because you can just keep replaying this out as removal, but you can keep hating on your opponent's hands. And so it has multiple ways of play. If you give me an example on what you'd like to try to see deck build wise, I'll try to see if I can meet your challenge then, if it's something I have or am able to do. But I think like there's a lot of commander options that even if you go with the idea of trying to build for slower decks, you can do it. It just requires you to just kind of experiment and figure out what are the type of cards that help support it. Most of the time people want multicolors. But what is this? Attacking creatures get flying, get +1/+1 all turn. Whenever 3 or more creatures you control flying attack, each player gains control of a non-land permanent of your choice controlled by it. Oh yeah, that's weird. Alright. But, any case. I mean, I'm not trying to, like, say that you're wrong, that it's harder to make a control deck, or make decks that play longer. Because when you have certain commander options right now that are so cheap, it is harder to combat some of them with that 25 life total. But the thing is, it's 40 life total might be a little too much. I'd probably say if you're going to try to split the difference, I'd probably go at 30 at most, to at least give aggro a chance still. Because even at 25 life, if you play against a hard control deck that just has nothing but board wipes, it's, you know, one, not very fun to have to play against, but two, just hitting 25 points of damage is very hard to do in Commander. Because there have been so many board wipes printed that are very playable that you could build out of the 100 card deck, and say you're only 2 colors, you can pick any 2 colors, doesn't matter what they are. You could still end up with about 20 board wipes if you want it, or some type of thing that, you know, pops things off the board. I generally try not to put more than... if I'm going hard control, I still try not to go more than 10, just because I don't want to just be board wipe.deck. But I usually sit somewhere between 4 to 8. But in which case, I will jump into some more games. Sorry if I was, ranting, but I was at least giving you my insight on why I think it's 25 is a good life total for one-on-one play. It's very different once when you start adding in a third, just at least a third player. Oh, yeah, here's another example of a strong card that it's this is definitely one of those commanders that I do agree with you. That 25 life can be a little low sometimes because of how fast this card spins out of control. All right, let's see if we can survive to mass manipulate to steal it from our opponent. All right, Sculptor of Winter means that we could see it come down on turn 2. So I think what we do here is we just braid, kill the Sculptor. Because this means that we can go land, Mind Stone, and hold up Disdainful Stroke. Alright, land. Mind Stone. There we go. Opponent's turn. I went ahead and just used the Spired Bluff Canal in case the opponent decides that they're firing off the Field of Ruin to get themselves a mountain. Okay, so Rex Sage, they're going to pop our stone, but we'll at least get a card draw off of it. Let's see here. I think we bring Seagate down, but I'm just going to bring it down tapped. Pass it to the opponent. This way we have the ability to still play Stroke, but we also have the ability to play Gambit. Opponent's going to level that up. Oh, that's right. This is a sorcery. I always forget about that about Gambit. That's not my first time I've done that. Probably not going to be my last time. Let's go ahead and go for Desert Doom now. But I still felt like it was better for us to hold up the Disdainful Stroke. Opponent's just unfortunately not hitting that red source. And when they do, they hit it tapped. So let's see, we can go land, play Niv, be able to do 1 damage to something, so we can kill off the Llanowar Elf. Or not. What do you do again? Choose a creature card in your hand, it perpetually gets +1/+1, and it gains... This spell costs 1 less to cast. Okay. Well, Imarith is going to go kill the group. Let's set up the Epiphany. Pass it to the opponent. Vorniclix. No, I don't think I want to deal with Vorniclix right now. Now, I could have just lit the Vorniclix Resolve, and we could have mass manipulated the Vorniclix by itself. But it's a little dangerous to go for that. Opponent, you fired that off a little too early. They're supposed to... I know what the opponent was trying to do. They were going to attack and then do the Blizzard Brawl to kill it. Wait. Yeah. Let's see here. So we'll go for Niv. We'll go for the attack. Get our card draw. And we'll bump off the elf. Alright, partners for our opponent. Where do they put the counters? On Rec Sage. Okay. Let's see. We have the ability to do... Or we need to draw a land off the top of the deck, preferably. Oh, there we go. Point damage to their face. We'll go for a manipulation here. X2. And we'll take these. This is such a dirty card to use. Yep, and there they go. I can't see a game where if you successfully cast Mass Manipulation and are able to steal your opponent's commander, that they don't just scoop on you. I mean, there are situations, but it's the card does end games. The thing is that opponent, while they did keep missing their red sources, we were holding answers the whole time, getting ready for them to play certain cards, and they were sort of playing around our answers as we kept trying to hold them up. Turkey Turtle. That's an interesting name. Okay. I was just double checking something in the background here for a second. All right, back to the game. I think we're good to keep this. Hopefully we don't have an issue where the opponent just scoops. Okay. I feel like I was taking that long to get prepared. But yeah, no, we actually had a pretty solid hand for ramping. And one of our artifacts this time was indestructible, so we weren't worried too much about getting hit by the play we did last time. But alright. Well, to go with one more game of Niv here. At the very least. Alright, it's a Turgid deck, which means they have lots of discard. We have the Arcane Signet. We can get to Kefnet pretty quickly. I think we'll keep this. It could go horribly wrong, but who knows? Maybe this will work out. A little worried about our lack of red sources, but... Oh, there we go. We get a red source. Signet to board. Mindstone for our opponent, so they're ramping as well. Blue source, that way we can bring down the God Eternal. I'm not too familiar with Kefnet. Whenever we draw our first card, we may reveal it. If it's an instant or sorcery, it'll cost... we get a copy of it that's 2 less to cast. If this happens to die, we put it on the top of our deck. Was it 3 from the top? Let's go ahead and discard the Strangle. Actually, I can reveal that. So let's go ahead and reveal. Cast this. Return non-land permanent to owner's hand. Draw a card. Do I create a token copy and put Kefnet back in the deck? That'd be kind of funny. But I don't think that's necessary. So, let's see. We're going to put this back to hand. We're going to draw a card. Land the board. Attack in. Oh no, they got the Rankle. Alright, so we're going to have to discard a card and sacrifice a creature. There goes Kefnet. We'll actually discard Tail's End, right? Now, we'll keep the Tail's End. Discard Narset. It's a little hard to decide which one's the best card for us to discard there. Go for Niv. Now, our opponent more than likely has removal of some type. How'd you work again? We played with you before. Yep, so they're going for the terms and conditions. So they get to see 3 different terms, and then they get to see 3 different conditions. They see the terms first, so they get one of these random, they get to see 3 of 15 random beneficial bonuses, and they're going to see 3 of 15 random negative effects. So they made it so all their creatures now have less power, and all their spells now cost less to cast. Let's hit there. Pass it back to the opponent. Let's see. Until the end of your next turn, whenever an opponent attacks you or planeswalker you control, they discard card if they can't sacrifice attacking creature. Okay. That's fine. I didn't want to go for a counterspell on this, and then they just play this as the Lantern. Or they can actually play Turgid itself because of the cost reduction they have. Okay. So, counterspell, draw a card, return permanent. So, we'll return the Rankle back to hand, and we'll draw a card. Damage to the opponent's face. Alright, I like that. So we can't attack in this turn without being forced to discard, thanks to the Soul Broker's effect. But with that off the board, we're good to bring Kefnet back and pass it back. The opponent usually uses lots of non-targeted sacrifice removal. So I'm not 100% worried about Niv, but still some slight worries. How's this work again? Let's see. Target legendary creature becomes a god, and put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then you can sacrifice it to make it indestructible. Target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to its other type. Oh, you can actually keep retargeting the creature even if it already is a god, to put counters on it, right? So you just keep building up a creature with that? That's cool. I remember seeing the card before, but I never really played with it. Alright, opponent is deep in the tank trying to think what they're going to do. We definitely have the advantage on this board. I don't actually have anything I can do to interact with that for counterspelling. So at the beginning of your end step, we'll be forced to discard. But we can just kill this. Decline. We had actually a trigger from Kefnet to potentially reveal. Yeah, we'll actually reveal this. This is going to be great. So I'm just going to spend 1 mana to get to draw. Because I'm going to take 2. Auto pay. 1 damage here. So that finishes that creature off. And we send the rest of the damage to the face. I didn't actually need to kill that creature, because we have enough to be lethal with all of our card draw here. Let's lead with this first. Discard draw. Oh, we hit Mind's Desire. Oh, I really would have liked to have been able to resolve Mind's Desire. That's actually a lot of chaotic fun. Oh, we actually do have enough. Let's do it. So, if you're not familiar with the spell, you're going to see a lot of chaos happen. So, we got to cast a card at random off the top of our deck for free. And it's always going to be at random. So, unfortunately, we hit really bad off of it. Let's see. So, we'll bounce this back to hand. Send the attacks in. That felt kind of bad on the Mind's Desire. I could have won without doing it, but I wanted to go for the chaos. I wanted to see what we could get. Because you can cast anything off of it. So it would have been cool if we could have gotten our Ancient Silver Dragon, you know, our 8-cost 8/8 flyer just to the board for free. But yeah, no, it's one of those crazy blue storm cards. So for each spell that's been played during the turn that you try to cast this on, we get to copy it. So since we had played 2 spells right before we went for Mind's Desire, we ended up getting 3 triggers. Or I'm sorry, 3 total Mind's Desire resolutions. And sadly, we hit Artifact, Land, and Blink of an Eye. Alright, opponent is giving us Salt Scoop. Now, if we had just simply gone for the Tezzert's Gambit and the Seize the Spoils, clearly they'd be dead, but I wanted to try to show off some silly chaos, but didn't get chaotic enough. Alright, opponent. We're just going to decline. We're just going to send the damage. Really? You're going to Salt Scoop a casual format? This is kind of sad. Salt Scooping a casual format. The reason why I say it's casual is because there actually is no ranked mode in MTGA. So while this will count for your dailies for playing spells or winning games, you don't get any potential rewards for doing well in this. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and end them. There we go. So Niv deck actually works really well. When it comes to the tournament plans, let's do one last game of Niv. We'll call this one the last one for the night for Niv. We'll do some deck review and see if there's any cards that we feel that we might want to trim. Maybe cards that we feel that we need to try to find a way in. Ooh, Teferi's Ageless Insight. This should be a fun hand. We'll try keeping this. Oh. Niv Parun versus Niv-Mizzet Reborn. So, we're against... Their deck is mostly two-colored cards. So, in order to take the best advantage of this, you run a lot of cards of different types that have two colors in them, and specifically two colors. You don't go for too many cards that branch beyond that because of the value that this does. So whenever this enters the battlefield, for each color pair, choose a card that's exactly from those colors among them, because you get to look at the top 10 cards. Then you put them into your hand. Rest on the bottom. Random order. Alright. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to fire off this Brainstorm. I was trying to see if I could, hold off on doing it. Oh my gosh, we are in so much trouble with that. I don't have any way to shuffle, and that means I'm not going to draw any lands. Oh no. I know we don't have anything that we can do now. This is so bad. I was hoping that we could hit another land so that way we have a big score. Get a discard draw. Opponent is holding some kind of priority over there. Do they have counterspell magic here, or do they have something else? Give them a friendly hello, just to remind them that we're here. Why are we getting roped? Me Dorley, come on. We'd like to play some card game. Okay. You know what? If the opponent, I'm just going to scoot because I know we don't have a good answer to be able to keep playing here. And if they're going to, sit that long on their card plays, I just want to move on to another game. We'll just not count that one. We didn't really get to see much gameplay action. But I just want to... I want to actually get a game here. Not a watching simulator of a rope tick. Okay, here we go. Alright, we actually have a different card than usual. We got River's Rebuke this time in hand, so let's see how this works. Oh, it's Liliana the Veil. This opponent doesn't like fun. Yes, hello. We'll decline. This only does damage to creatures. When they make us discard, we discard Kem's Insight here. Oh, they're actually going for their card draw first. I like that. They might have been afraid of like a counterspell maybe, but I don't think so. Alright, here comes the... No? Still not? Interesting. Let's get this off the board. Pass it back. Just so used to people just playing this immediately upticking, because then they can just down tick just to control the board. Alright, River's Rebuke isn't going to be very useful in this hand. So we'll give it up. Go for the God Eternal. The opponent's going to more than likely use Liliana's downtick to get rid of it. At that point, I think we just use Into the Royal to protect it. Okay, they're going to Murderous Rider. I think we have to take the action. I'm still trying to debate whether I interact with the Lily. But I guess we're just being forced to discard a card. The main issue with this Liliana is the -6. They gotta separate all of our permanents and make us sacrifice all of the chosen type. So we'll discard this. We're gonna keep the Unexpected Windfall. That's annoying, but not the end of the world. Alright, let's discard, draw. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We bring it back to the board, force the opponent to deal with it again. I just can't let them have that -6. Alright, and we're scooping. That's one of the things is, there's a reason you're not allowed to have in regular commander certain planeswalkers as your commander. The fact that you're always going to have Liliana of the Veil at your go is so dumb. Do I have the Locust God in my deck? No, actually, I do not. I actually don't have the Locust God. You are correct that the Locust God would probably do well. I don't think it would have helped us in that match in particular, because I just needed something to answer Liliana, and I didn't have anything that did it. So this is our deck list. I went with the idea of getting like a lot of cards that, you know, helped us discount the cost on our cards. Now I think Storm Skrillex is kind of a weak card overall in the deck, and probably could get trimmed. I kept it because also, you know, it does have a potential burst of damage that it does, because of, you know, play spells, gets +2/+0 until the turn, and with that cost reduction, with how many like draw effects we have, it seemed really good. But we also do have the Goblin Electromancer, and we also have Vadrik Astral Archmage to help us give the cost reductions. But the Locust God, you are correct. That is something I did not go with, because this is actually a really good card. I'm just worried about... Okay, if we put this in, we have to trim a card off the top end, I think, because we can't let ourselves go too slow. Helm of the Host. I do actually have Helm of the Host. The thing is, it's the only real targets that we have for Helm of the Host is just our commander. I'm trying to think, is that worthwhile on Niv-Mizzet? Like, usually if you get Niv on the board, it just already runs away with the game. And Helm of the Host probably is more of a win more. For those that aren't familiar with Helm of the Host. Because at the beginning of your upkeep, on your turn, create a token that's a copy of a equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary. Equipped creature is legendary. The token gains haste. It does cost 5 to equip and 4 to play. Now, granted, it has to cost a lot of mana because of how good this card is. The 5 costs, though, to equip, and we, like, if we go to the equip and opponent has instant speed interaction, we get punished super hard. But then again, with our commander, they're usually gonna get it off the board as soon as they can anyway, so I guess you do have a point that that could work. To be honest, the Ancient Silver Dragon, it's a very expensive spell. Probably could trim this one easily enough. I was more or less wanting to try to see if we can actually ever get the die roll to happen at least once, but Usually when we draw this, we already have the opponent dead. There was one game where the Dragon Mage actually came in super handy. So I can't say it's like out of the realm of possibilities to use the Ancient Silver. But I do believe you are correct. Locust God would be actually a really solid card. Now I'm trying to think like if I craft it and include it, because I do have a Mythic Craft. I could make it. What card do I take out to include? A 1,000-Year Storm. You are correct. We could run 1,000-Year Storm. Actually, that one would be a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll include 1,000-Year. I actually forgot about including 1,000-Year Storm, considering how much of a draw build we have. You know, I think I'm going to take Tezzeret's Gambit out. It is kind of cool because, you know, you can play it for colorless, so you don't have to worry about your mana when you play it. But I think that overall, I think I can trim. Because it's sorcery speed. Try to go on the instant speed plan for the draw. Whenever I can. So I used to have the blue-red Locust God deck. Oh, okay. Alright, blue-red Locust God worked very similar to Niv-Mizzet. Because they both have similar idea. You cast, trigger, and you get the ability to do damage. The difference is Locust God, you get the 1/1 haste tokens. Because they both trigger off of instant and sorceries. Oop. Did I spell it wrong? Oh no, I took craft mode off. So I did spell it right. Oh no, this is whenever you draw a card, period. So this wasn't casting spells. You usually just cast your spells to draw those cards. I forgot there was actually a way to go infinite with this. I don't remember the exact combos anymore. It's one of those things. I know it when I see the cards, like how they interact. Well, I forget what the actual cards are off the top of my head. Yeah, it's a little too close. There we go. But, alright, so if we were to include that, what do we take out? I mean, we could take out maybe a Blink of an Eye or Into the Royal. Don't want to take out some of this spot removal, considering we still have to deal with aggro decks as a thing. I like my Electromancer, Vodric. Maybe I could just take out the Storm Skrillex. I thought this was an interesting card, but I think we can just take this out. Add this to the deck. Because I think that's actually a better card for the deck in general. It does leave us with this weird like situation where we have only 2 5 drops in the whole deck. We have a whole lot of like over 5 cards. Now granted, this one's over here because it technically is a 4 cost you play first, but it gets calculated as a 10 cost because it treats both the 4 and the 6 at the same time. Because if we're going to look at this realistically, this should be sitting around here. We actually don't use any planeswalkers, so we actually could make use of... I forget the name of it, but... the Immortal Sun. We actually could make use of the Immortal Sun. We only have one planeswalker, it's Narset. So we can add that to the deck. The reason why I want the Immortal Sun is because if we do come across somebody who's using lots of Planeswalkers, it just allows us to immediately shut them off. And I never understand how CMC is worked out on Aftermath cards. Oh, you're talking about these cards right here? So all these split cards, I think are treated that they're, while in hand, hand, deck, graveyard, I think they're treated as having the CMC combined together. So that way they can't be tricked, cast by, you technically are targeting the lower CMC, or lower mana value of the card to be able to play the more expensive side. Because there was an issue with this, with the expertise cards. So expertise, I need to take it off there because people were using Karizev's expertise as a card to be able to cast this, and then you can play a mana value 2 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. Then they were playing a different card off of it that was in red. What was it? It wasn't one of these ones. But it was definitely a split card of some type. I forget what it was off the top of my head now, but they were using it to cheat in a spell. And basically any creature that they targeted, they were then able to just play a massive value on the other side. And some people actually were using it with the blue expertise to actually combine Brawl's expertise to target commit memory. And what happened is they would bounce all the cards back to hand from the opponent's stuff, and then they memory the cards away. So there was no guarantee that the opponent would have the cards that they bounced, and then they'd be able to reset their whole hand. Now they do reset the opponent's hand as well, but if they had a Narset in play, it meant that you gave your opponent only one card back, and yeah, there was nothing but bad things happening. Now I think that actually, I don't remember if all those cards were in the format that you could see that happen, because I know they made the ruling change to how they saw these CMC values pretty quickly after these expertise cards came out. But I don't remember which card that they were using Karizev for anymore. Because they were definitely cheating a spell with this. I don't remember what it is. It's driving me nuts now. It was definitely one of the split cards, and I don't know. It's like, it wasn't like cut to ribbons, but it was definitely along those, like, lines. But I hope that explains why they made it that way. They count as a combined CMC instead of only one side to the other. It's to prevent people from cheating the system and getting some disgusting plays. Now, it does mean that there are some cards that actually still get benefits out of this. Because if you get a card that forces, like, if you discard a card, you get to deal damage equal to, like, its CMC. It does the combined CMC, so you get that benefit from those. But those are not generally played because they are usually seen as a negative to hand size and don't work well for most decks. Not saying that you can't make them work. Because this is really about, like, at least that much mana for playing. So we have lots of 2-cost interaction, most of it's ramp. We have lots of 3-card draw spells. Still never saw the Hippocamp come into play. This is actually the only card that I'm running that is alchemy only. Like, you can't get, there's no physical paper in this card. It's just such an amazing card. It's 3 mana, deal 5 damage or something, but you make it so that way if all their creatures, if they would die, now are exiled instead. If you want to use a version of this in paper, I would go with Soulseer, because this will do the same idea. It deals 5 damage to any creature or planeswalker for 3 mana. But you make the creature lose indestructible. Or permanent, I should say. Lose indestructible. So you're able to destroy creatures that you normally wouldn't be able to. I went with the this one just because I went with the fact that exiling is usually a little stronger. Not saying that the ability to fight through indestructible isn't bad. And what's great about Soulseer is your opponent doesn't have the ability to reapply indestructible to save their creature at any point during this, because the spell has to resolve to remove the indestructible unless you fire this off first and fail to kill it. Alright. So, I still have to trim one card to make room for this Locust God. Trying to think what the best thing is. Actually, I'm trying to think. Sublime Epiphany doesn't offer us a whole lot of value and might be the card to go. Because we could get the counterspell, return a permanent, draw a card, but we're never really going to be making a copy of something. Because we only have one target that isn't legendary. I think we'll take Sublime Epiphany out. I think that's what we'll do. Otherwise, it's just a really expensive counterspell. So, let's see. Mind's Desire is a gamble card. Would not recommend under normal circumstances, but we're trying to have some fun with this. That's also why we're going to leave the Ancient Silver Dragon in, as well as Dragon Mage. If we're going to truly go super competitive with this, these would probably be the first two cards I'd cut, along with Mind's Desire. So those would be the three I'd trim. And then probably find something else that just gives us more control aspect or more looting ability. Oh, I just realized, there actually is a land. Oh, we don't have it yet. Oh, that's right. We don't have it in the format. I was thinking we had, I think it's called Gyre Reach Sanctum. If you're not familiar with that card, it is a card that makes it so each player will draw and discard a card. And it's useful because it does give us a trigger of Niv-Mizzet at any time. But if we are flooding out, we can force the draw discard and potentially dig into playable spells to keep our power going. Now, it is also strong against opponents because if they ever empty hand themselves, we're basically forcing the opponent just to lose whatever their top card is. But sadly, that is actually a Shadows over Innistrad card, and I keep forgetting that set hasn't been brought into the arena, back into Arena, I should say, because we did play it back in the old days on Arena, but it just hasn't been brought back. Well, I think we'll just go ahead and call that there for the deck adjustments. And I don't mind crafting the one of, so yeah, we'll finish the deck. We'll craft the one of Locust God. Now, if you missed the early part of the stream, I'm just going to quickly show you again the Lozhan Brawl deck that we did. Because I would like to see... See, I remember that card. It was my first card I remember. Oh, okay. Alright. I'm guessing that's in response to the Gyre Reach land I was talking about. Now, again, I could be saying the wrong name, mixing it up with another card, which is... Let me just double check it online real quick. Okay. I accidentally called it Gaia Reach Sanctum. It's Gaia Reach Sanitarium. Yes, it is the house. Oh wait, no. This is the wrong card. So Gaia Reach Sanitarium is the one that whenever a player this is the card I was accidentally remembering the name of. Wait, no, this is the right card. Yeah, this is the right correct. This is the correct card. So yeah, Gaia Reach Sanitarium. It just taps for colorless mana. It is legendary, so it can only have one of these in play. But in the commander format, that's all you'll be allowed anyway, so it's not like that's an issue. But yeah, you pay 2, tap it, each player draws a card, then discards a card. And I do like the fact that it has the flavor text, all are welcome. But, in any case. So this was the other deck idea that we did earlier today. Lozhan Dragon's Legacy. It ended up performing really well with this dragon build. It's more aggressive because we actually are running a lot of creature bodies with this. And whenever we cast our dragons or we go on adventures, we get to deal damage to any target other than our opponent's commander. Based on the mana value of that card. Now, one of the problems when we were testing this deck is we drew Lathliss a lot. And the reason why that's a problem is we crushed the opponent because of Lathliss. And I don't know how consistent the deck is without Lathliss. So it's going to be interesting if we take this to a tournament. The deck idea does feel kind of cool because we get to play lots of these big dragons. And was kind of fun. No. The one that flips into a demon is the one that you sacrifice creatures to transform. That's something else. It's same set, I think, but different land. That's from Moon. Wait, what do you mean Moon? The set after. Oh, okay. No. Westfall Abbey is Shadows over Innistrad, and that's the one you were thinking of. Right. Give this 1 second, and there we go. You were thinking about this one. Westfall Abbey that transforms into Armandal, the Profane Prince. Where you pay life, you create the tokens, and they're human clerics. They can sacrifice 5 creatures to transform into the 9/7 Flying Lifelink Indestructible Haste creature. Right? Because if you read, this is Shadows over Innistrad. Because the card I was talking about... wait, where is it? Oh, mine was actually a different set. Mine was... oh, yeah, mine was Eldritch Moon. So, I thought mine was the first set, and you thought yours was the second set. We had it backwards. Yeah, I saw the set symbol, and I mixed it up. I have a bad habit of mixing these two sets up. Eldritch Moon had a lot of fun cards, though. I really like that set. And it's a shame we don't have access to some of these cards for Arena, but the thing is, I know there are some cards that are going to totally break the historic format if they were to bring this back, because you had like the Eldritch Evolution and things like that. That's your old comment that went across the screen. Don't worry about that. But so, anyways, case. So these were the decks. I hope you enjoyed the experience we had with it. I do feel like we have improved both the decks a little bit from our adjustments. Now the question is, which deck do we want to see during the tournament? We can. I'll actually leave a spot where people can make notes on the comment, and we can try to figure out which deck you'd prefer, and whether it be the Lozhan Dragon's Legacy deck here, or the Niv-Mizzet Spellslinger deck. I do think both are very viable, and we'll try to see which one we go with. Yeah, so if you would like to leave some feedback on the decks that you've seen, there's our Discord. I'll have in the Historic Brawl decks a little later tonight set up to make it so that people can vote on which deck you'd like to see played. You can also just type in there ahead of time before I make the post, and I'll try to make sure to keep track of that. The tournament will be next Monday. That we'll try to use it, unless there's some restriction that may come up that says that they want to like have us use Dominaria United style commanders again. And if that's the case, we'll try out the Maria deck that I haven't displayed yet, because I still need to make some adjustments to get that one to work. But in which case, we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream by heading out on a raid. I know it's a small group tonight, but let's go ahead and share the love with someone else out there. Now, if there's anyone you'd like to suggest that we go head up with the raid, feel free to shout them out. Oh, actually, I know who I want to try to raid if they are still actually going. Yeah, they only just started a little while ago. Yeah, I mean, I wish you all have a nice night, and we'll see you next time here tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow I do have planned for some deck designs that are going to be for the standard format. I have 2 of them actually designed for those who are looking for budget-friendly decks, where they're just common, uncommon cards only. And I'll also have some suggested cards to upgrade them if you're looking to, add some rares to make them better. And I also have one, regular deck that I plan on showing off. If you actually look right here, the 2 different artisan decks, I have a Rakdos deck, as well as a Gruul deck that's all about Pump. And I also have a Tatyova's Reclamation. So this is a combo deck for, land falling to animate lands and turn them into creatures and do lots of damage. So we'll go ahead and try those out tomorrow. But until tomorrow, I wish you all have a nice night. Stay safe. And we'll go hit up... I'm going to go hit up Suge Knight. Now, if you're not familiar with Suge Knight, they are somebody who actually shows up here every so often and are a viewer themselves. But they do participate in our tournaments and is generally a very friendly person. So, anyways, guys, I wish you all a nice time. Have a nice time, and see you whenever you are able to next time. Sorry, I'm tripping on my words tonight. Take care, everyone.
But I think if they get dog walked by the Browns, yo, what's up? We're getting raided right now.